I don't know if I need to say it, but if you've not watched my first video on the subject, entitled The Mystery of the Sonic Statue in the Mountains Revealed, you should really do that in order to fully understand the context of this video. A link to it can be found in the video's description. I didn't plan or intend to create a follow-up video on this subject, mainly due to the fact I knew it wouldn't be able to add much to the story. I'd covered virtually everything about the statue and the story behind it in the first video. And since the original video went live, it's been viewed by hundreds of thousands of people. It blew up my expectations completely. Even people outside of the gaming community who just found the story interesting have had a look at it, and many have requested that I do a follow-up. But I wasn't sure whether I could do one. What possibly could I add to it? Some people said that they wanted to know more, but like I said, the first video covered nearly everything. So I knew a follow-up wouldn't work unless there was a significant development in the fate of the statue, or some amazing new video was made available. And I thought at best this would take months or even years. I certainly didn't think it would only take a few weeks. In the 1 month that the video has been live, the story has grown in popularity, and there have been some new developments, and even some new video and photography has been taken, which I've come into possession of. So grab your backpacks and pull on your hiking boots. It's time to return to Sonic Mountain. The story of this statue continues just a few weeks after I finished uploading the original video. On February 26, I was contacted on Twitter by someone named Captain N Commissions, whose real name is Michael and is based in the United States, and he wanted to go find the statue on his vacation trip. I'd had a few messages from people who had said the same thing, that they also wanted to go find the statue when they visited Japan. But this message was different, because unlike all the other messages, this individual said that they were a professional fabricator, and they'd had lots of experience with creating props and objects found in various video games and TV shows, and they'd been doing this work for years, and in that time they'd gained hundreds of hours working with lots of different materials. So they wanted to find the statue, not only because they thought it's a cool statue, but they also wanted to look at it with their professional knowledge to try and see if it was actually possible to rescue and restore it. So naturally, I was quite intrigued. So I did a little bit of digging and found out that they were indeed who they claimed to be, and some of their work looks very impressive. He also had a really interesting idea and proposal. That being to crowdfund an effort to raise enough money to rescue the statue and transfer it to his workshop studio, where he would repair it and add some additional weatherproofing in order to extend the life of the statue for future generations. So whilst I told him that the location wasn't a secret, I mean it was in the original video description after all, anyone could go find it if they wished. We did have a long conversation about his proposal, and we both quickly realised that aside from the very big logistics of it all, there was also one really huge, obvious problem. And I want to mention it here and stress this as a key point, because it's important for everyone to understand this one problematic issue. This statue is owned by someone. It's someone's property. As mentioned in the first video, it's believed to be owned either by a group of farmers or industrialists. So you can't just go up into the mountains and just take the thing, or even randomly paint it. You first need to get permission from whoever owns it, be it a group of people, single, individual, or local authority. Otherwise, you're going to land in some pretty hot water. This statue has been something of a local landmark for 10 years, and you need to respect that. So we both quickly realised and agreed that before anyone makes any attempt to try and repair the statue, the current owner needs to be found and their permission needs to be given. Otherwise, you're probably going to get into a lot of trouble, even if your intentions are good, and you have to get permission first with stuff like this. And ever since this story broke, there's been a lot of comments saying, hey, why can't someone just go out there and fix it? Yeah, it's not that simple. I wish it were, but given how extreme the repairs would need to be, and how likely it is that you would probably have to remove the entire statue just to repair it, you can't just take it. You've got to get permission to do so first. So the conversation ended with Michael saying that when he would go out there, he would try and get some more information and see if he could narrow down who owned it, and if possible, take some 3D scans of the statue as well. And things went quiet for a while. But there have been some other really interesting things which have happened and been discovered about the statue. One of the more unexpected things which has happened in the last month is that due to the increase in traffic to Google Street View on this specific area, it seems that the statue has now been given landmark status on Google Maps. Previously, if you tried to find the statue on Google Maps, it didn't show up unless you were standing on the exact road looking at the exact spot, which is why it took people so long to try and find it. Well, that's no longer the case. I'm not sure how this happens or who made it happen, but the Sonic statue now appears on Google as a landmark when you view the area it's located in. The statue is simply called the Mysterious Sonic Statue, which I think is an awesome name to give it. And this probably means that because it's now landmark status and a lot of apps pull the Google Map data, it's probably more likely to appear as a Pokestop in Pokemon Go. But that's not likely to happen. Is it? Well, it's in Pokemon Go. Yes, the statue is now in Pokemon Go as a Pokestop. I verified this myself using some Android development tools that I normally use to test various apps which I make that need a GPS signal, and it is in the game as of the 23rd of March. So if you like, you can actually go visit the statue in person and put a lure down and catch some Pokemon for a bit. And the final interesting development, at the South by Southwest Sonic panel, Iizuka was asked about the Sonic statue, and he said that they would do everything they could to save it. Oh, wait, hang on. No, I'm getting confused. That was the other timeline. In ours, we got a question about
Batman.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that incident in another video. But anyway, back to the statue. Nearly a month after Captain N first got in touch, he made contact again, only this time with some very exciting news. He had made the trip to the statue along with his friend and some decent camera equipment, and we now have some very good landscape video and additional high quality photographs. The photographs you're looking at now were all taken within the last 2 weeks. I was told that he wanted to get different angles on the statue in order to capture parts of it and aspects of the statue that we hadn't seen before. And whilst there, he had hoped to get a lot more footage of the statue, but due to a change in plans, they had to get a taxi, and whilst the driver was willing to wait for them, he did insist that the meter be left running. But this taxi ride did reveal something of interest. The taxi firm was from the nearby town, and the driver wasn't aware that this statue existed, and it seems that most local people are not aware that this statue is here. It's that remote. It's one of these local landmarks that most no-locals are just not even aware of. In fact, when they first arrived at the statue, the driver offered to help them with some of their photography, such as would he like them to hold the camera so they could both get in the picture. And during the time, he even asked if they minded if he took some photos of the statue himself, since he was so impressed with the sight of the giant Sonic. And you might be thinking, how is this even possible? How do the locals not even know this statue is here? Well, just think about it for a moment. The area is in a very remote part of Japan. The nearby town is quite small, and the statue itself is a 40-minute walk away in a remote section of mountainside. If I bring back the Pokemon Go example for just a moment, I know when I was first playing that game in my city, I was shocked at all the landmarks that it brought up, which I didn't even know existed, and some of them were just minutes away from my own house. So it's really not that difficult to believe or even understand that a lot of people just simply don't know that this statue is right there on their doorstep. Along with the new photographs, some new video was also recorded, which I'm going to play for you now.
あんまり知られていない。少ないですね。そうですね。マイケルさんはツイッターでメッセージをしてある人からアドレスが起こりました。あ、起こって。はい。ラッキーですね。 Hi.
I'm gonna walk up the little path. What? I'm gonna walk up this path and get behind it.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Okay.
Either of those.
Don't.
Yeah, I just want to get some close up of the detail and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it. I have a multi-shot, so it shoots like 10 photos in 1 second.
Okay. I am definitely going to share this video with the guy I was talking to, so you might wind up on some obscure YouTube video.
It's okay. Wow.
Oh, man, you can see the...
I'm gonna close up to his feet. Are you almost ready, Michael?
Almost.
Okay. Michael, yeah. Come on down. Do you want me to help?
Hold on.
Michael was also able to provide a few additional details regarding the statue and its current state. The statue is around 6 feet tall, and when you see it in real life, the size of it is quite surprising. Another curious detail is the underside of the board that Sonic is standing on. Based on the original video from the Sega Park TV advert, the front of the board had the Sonic and Knuckles logo. Well, this was actually a very large sticker and not painted onto the statue. The sticker is actually on the statue still, but it has almost been completely sun-bleached away. However, you can apparently just make out Knuckles' eyes if you look closely enough. The new photographs and video are quite an amazing record of this statue, but sadly, it shows that the statue has degraded to a worse state than previously feared. Captain N also stresses that the condition of the statue is not yet beyond saving, but action needs to be taken right now in order to save it. In the last video, I pointed out how there were signs of cracks on the statue, such as along the arm of Sonic. What Michael pointed out was that over time, as the elements take their toll on the statue, the cracks will widen and grow larger, meaning there will come a point when the arm can no longer support its own weight. Eventually, the arm will start to sag before completely snapping off. There are other parts of the statue where this is likely to be the case, but the most concerning part of the statue is the snowboard and the base supports which are currently holding up the entirety of the statue's weight. The problem comes in two parts. The first being that the snowboard that Sonic is standing on appears to be completely unsalvageable at this point. Parts of it have completely rotted away, and the supports themselves that Sonic is standing on are just not built to last. They too are slowly decaying, and eventually they will fail, and when that happens, the entire statue will collapse. If this happens, the statue will fall several feet to the ground, and likely also onto the road. Assuming someone finally then takes notice, you can bet the statue will just be cleared away and completely destroyed. According to Captain N, this statue was just not designed to be kept outside. It's an indoor display piece, and it is rapidly decaying. So the reports from Captain N paint quite a grim picture with regards to its future. It really does need relocating to a safer area, or something drastic to be done to preserve it in this spot. Me personally, I would love to see it remain where it is forever following a restoration, but I have to admit that this seems like an impossibility. It does seem that even if it was fully restored and returned to the mountain, it will just decay again and will be completely lost to history at some point. There is, however, one glimmer of hope that I would like to end on. According to Michael, the statue is not yet past the point of no return. The majority of the statue can still be saved and repaired, but action needs to happen very soon in order for that to happen. With all the experience and all the years of work he's had with multiple materials in different environments, Michael estimates that if the statue is not immediately taken into care and restoration, it will likely completely collapse under its own weight within the next 5 to 7 years. Someone out there owns this statue, and there is clear worldwide interest in the statue, and I would hope that that includes the restoration and preservation of it. But there is one barrier that is standing in the way of this: permission. And the only clue that we have right now is that the statue might be owned by a group of local farmers or industrialists, but this isn't confirmed beyond doubt. So if I were in the area, or even in Japan itself, and I wanted to try and save this, what I would probably do is I would go and see if the nearby town has some kind of tourist centre, or if there's a local authority in the town who might be able to shed some light onto it, or maybe they'd be even willing to help save the statue themselves. Typically, I find that if you can argue to them, ooh, you could make some tourism money off this, people tend to help out quite quickly. But even some pressure from Sega might be good. The official Sonic live streams are going to be starting again this week. Maybe instead of spamming the chat with T for toaster or some other random meme thing, how about we ask them to save the statue, or maybe post some stuff in the chat which is a little bit more important? It's just a thought. So that's all the information regarding the statue and the developments surrounding it since I first published the original video. I doubt I'm going to make another video on this subject unless something really significant happens. The big thing that you need to take away from it now is that it took fans years to follow all the clues and eventually track down the statue. Now that we found it, there's no longer any doubt. It needs saving and restoring, and we actually have a very real and very strong chance to actually save the majority of the original statue. But to do that, we're gonna have to search again, only this time for the owner. Without their permission, this statue is doomed. We have the estimate from someone who knows their stuff. If nobody does anything, this might be the last time you're ever able to return to Sonic Mountain. See you next time. Hey guys, thanks for checking out my video. If you found this video interesting and enjoyed it, please click that like and subscribe button. And if you know anybody else who might be interested, please share it with your fellow friends and minions. If you want to continue the adventures, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And if you'd like to support the work I do further, please consider backing me on Patreon. Or if you'd just like to make a one-off donation, why not treat me to a coffee? Links to both are in the video description. Even the smallest donation is a huge help to keeping this channel going. But most of all, just thank you for taking the time out to watch this video and enjoy the work I do. It really does mean the world to me. Thank you.